Today, the Baltimore Ravens just made a big time move, and it is causing a lot of mixed emotions. If you haven't already heard, the Baltimore Ravens and John Harbaugh have come to a 3-year extension agreement, which means after the 2025 season, John Harbaugh has another 3 years left on his contract to be the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. And a lot of people were waiting to see what I had to say. They felt like that I was going to be very disappointed in this move. I was going to be a little upset. But to tell you right now, I'm just blah. Like, it is what it is. It's status quo. There come to be certain things that you expect when dealing with the Baltimore Ravens. They operate in a certain way, a certain manner where things don't really surprise you that often. And to me, this was not a surprise. Under John Harbaugh, the Ravens have won a Super Bowl. They've been to the playoffs many, many times. In Lamar Jackson's tenure, they have been to the playoffs every year except for 2021. And that was the year that he got hurt. The first year that he got hurt, actually. They made it the second year. But to make the playoffs 6 out of 7 times is pretty damn good. So I believe that the Ravens wanted to reward him for his continued regular season success in leading this team, where some of us believing that it is Lamar Jackson that is the straw that stirs this drink. But you have to give the head coach some kind of credit, I guess. And even though that I feel like this is just another move, another day in the life of Baltimore Ravens content, it doesn't mean that I think that it is the right move. But hey, do what you have to do. You move along with the franchise as you want to move along with it. But you've all heard that in a coach and quarterback combination, they have not won a championship in the first 5 years. They're not going to do it. And Lamar and Harvey are entering year 8. So for some reason, Rashadi, DeCosta, they believe that year 8 is going to be the season that everything turns around. John Harbaugh is going to do something different, and we're going to win a title. I hope that he's right. I hope that this comes to fruition, but sometimes past patterns dictate future success. And we've seen the same thing year in and year out, whether it be different players, different coordinators, it really doesn't matter. Same thing, end result, same game plans. And it is not a John Harbaugh thing at this point, because right now it's just, you get numb to the situation. So for me, it's just, when do you want to do better? It is just going to be, when does winning more in the regular season count when you don't have the postseason success? And of course, everybody's going to say, well, Bashadi, he likes continuity. He likes keeping things the same. He doesn't like a bit of change. And I get that. But sometimes you have to make a change. When you're not getting anywhere, you have to make a change. I read somewhere recently in a post saying that Bashadi was like the #1 owner that wanted to win the most. I don't know where they get their analytics from. I don't know where they get their information from, but I doubt it. Bashadi's hands off. To me, he's not injecting himself into certain things, putting his foot down on certain moves that should have been made, because we should have won at least 2 Super Bowls by now. But I just think that he just lets his people handle their business just like he does in his other businesses, and they go from there. And as long as they're profitable and making money, I think that this kind of goes the way of how he just handles his business. But there are times, especially in sports, when a change is needed, no matter how successful you are at a period of time. Let us not forget it. New England Patriots won 6 Super Bowl titles. They let go or parted ways with Bill Belichick, possibly the greatest head coach of all time. And I always have to bring this back to my Golden State Warriors. Back in the day, we had the We Believe Golden State Warriors, who kind of outperformed what people thought that they would. Then they hit a little lull period where they weren't really good, and they brought in Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson brought them back to relevance. They made the playoffs. They won in the playoffs, but the team just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like they were going anywhere, or they were on a championship level. And on the very next season, after they fired him, after year 3, they brought in Steve Kerr. In Steve Kerr's first year, he took that collection of talent, added a few key pieces here and there, and they won an NBA title, and then went on to win 3 more NBA titles, even in 2022, when they didn't even have that talented of a team as they had previously. So sometimes just a change, just a different voice in that building can be and make all the difference in the world. So this is not out to get John Harbaugh. This is not to have him fired and say he's not good, he doesn't do certain things, but he can only get us to a certain point. He's proven it over the last 7 seasons. We can only get to a certain point with him. And yes, the players do have to take some of the blame for that. But a lot of the times when you have repetitive, reoccurring issues, it starts with the head guy. If we lost in a bunch of different ways each and every time, then you could say, the players have to do better. They have to prepare better. They have to perform better when it counts the most. But when we go into the playoffs each and every season, hold down some of the greatest quarterbacks of this generation, and the offense can't score, that's on philosophy. That's on the personnel. That's on focusing on a certain group and saying, you know what, that group can just get by. And part of that has to do with the philosophy of the head coach. So that is just my personal opinion on how I think we should handle things. I mean, how many more seasons do you expect the fan base to show up after the same exits over and over again? And a lot of people like John Harbaugh, and they think that he's a top 10 head coach in the NFL, and so be it. He can be all of these things. But if he can't get us over the hump, there needs to be some sort of a change. There needs to be a new, fresh voice in the building that has a different eye, that maybe sees something that he doesn't see right now collectively with Eric DeCosta, and maybe get us over that hump, get us to a Super Bowl, not even win it, just get to the Super Bowl. So we can take this stigma off Lamar Jackson that he can't do certain things. And yes, Lamar has to play better, but this team has to be coached better. We need someone that can win in the regular season and then win in the postseason. John Harbaugh is a great regular season coach. I think they said under Lamar Jackson, when he has a fully healthy season, the Ravens average 12.5 wins a year. So when you start Lamar Jackson and you play him at least 16 games, this team is guaranteed to win 12.5 games because of Lamar, because he is that great. And some believe that, John Harbaugh is just there for the ride. And sometimes he messes things up a little bit. But you know what I'm saying? Like they say, it ain't pretty, but it's us. It's what we do. And for those of you that feel like, I just can't put up with this for another 4 years. This is something I cannot deal with. I have one thing to say to you. February 21st, 2007, Baltimore Ravens head coach Brian Billick signed a 4-year extension to be the Baltimore Ravens head coach. December 31st, 2007, Brian Billick was fired as the Baltimore Ravens head coach. So he got a 4-year extension. Had that ugly loss to the winless Dolphins. I still remember the pit in my stomach. I think it was Brian somebody. I know it was a white receiver. And he caught that slant. And the Dolphins won that game. And next thing you know, they said, you're a Super Bowl winning head coach. And you've had a good 2006 season, but I don't see you being the director of this ship any longer. And Bisciotti kicked him to the curb after signing an extension 9 months prior. They let him go. So for me, this extension means nothing. If the Ravens get to a certain point where it gets stale and it gets stagnant, we could possibly see the same thing. And I'm not looking for anyone to get fired. But there comes a time when you say, hey, how far can this guy take us? So congratulations to John Harbaugh for signing his extension, getting a longer term deal so he's not going into the season a lame duck coach. Congratulations to the Baltimore Ravens for keeping the man that they apparently want. And Baltimore Ravens fans, keep your head up. We don't know what's going to happen. Listen, I'm not hoping for another 5-11 season for him to get fired, because we know something dramatic, something drastic has to happen for John Harbaugh to be let go. So I guess we have to enjoy the ride for as long as it's going to be here. Pause. But the one thing that I am honestly hoping is that we don't stay on this roller coaster ride for too long before we waste much more of Lamar Jackson's career.